What's up? It's Tony DeBell here. It's 7:13 a.m. and I'm gonna teach you how to become happier. Oh yeah, a happier and more happier man. Wow! All right, let's get started. Rule number one: you got to put everything into perspective. And what do I mean by putting things into perspective? Well, that's very simple. Every single circumstance, every single thing that happens to you, every action, there's multiple ways to look at it. For example, if someone you're taking a shower and it's not as warm as possible. You ran out of hot water and you have to take a cold shower. Well, most people would be like, in America, they'd be like, man, well, why don't I have a hot shower? They start complaining about it. They're like, man, this is terrible. Most places, they don't even have running water. So it's about being grateful for what you already have. And this applies to every single circumstance. Of course, there's always some boundaries, but you can be practically grateful for about everything. Let me give you an example. Let's say you go to your favorite donut shop. And then you're like, okay, let's buy my favorite donut. I want my chocolate sprinkled, a little extra sprinkle. And then they ran out of chocolate. And now there's two ways to look at it. One is to be like, okay, you know, all right, I'm gonna start complaining. I didn't get my favorite chocolate. It's ruined my routine. Or it's ruined my day. I need my chocolate sprinkles with extra sprinkles on it. Ooh, like get some of that. Even more sprinkles, maybe to spice up my day a little bit. Or you could be like, okay, this is an opportunity to try a new flavor, and this is where you start to look at things from a different perspective. It's like, okay, we can complain about it, or we can look at it another way. Because at the end of the day, nothing is going to change, which leads to my second point. Only focus on the things you can actually control. Because when you start putting emotion to things, I believe this was a Stoic principle from Marcus Aurelius. But basically, if you want to control something and you have the ability to control it, then you could feel upset, angry, like you could feel these emotions. But when you start to, things that are outside of your control, like for example, let's say someone drove your car and then they crashed into it. Well, there's partial responsibility because you let them drive, but that's also something outside your control because you weren't physically driving the car. Now, you can get upset at them. Now, even if you're upset with them that they crash your car is crashed. Like there's no changing it. You can only think of the solutions and how to, fix it. You can ask your friend to help pay back. You can ask warranty, you can ask insurance. There's a lot of ways to look at things at what you could potentially do rather than worrying about things in the past. Another example is blaming your circumstances. Not everyone is dealt the greatest hand. Some people are born rich with like loving parents, others, not so great circumstances. And you can blame about your environment, your circumstances, but blaming it won't change anything. You got to look at like another viewpoint of the world where it's like, okay, this is the hand I was dealt with. What can I do with this? Because you've seen countless of people who were like from the poorest of the poor rise up to the greatest of the great, and vice versa, the great of the great who dropped down all the way to being broke and depressed. And it's about looking at what you're dealt with and what you can do with it. And my third point and my final point is that you want to spend time because you have no clue what life is going to throw you. Maybe your life is going fantastic right now. So maybe your life is just going maybe a little boring. Maybe your life is going terrible. But one thing that really helps is you want to develop a skill, like a skill that you're like top 5%, something that's marketable, something that gives you a sense of security so that no matter what happens, you can rely on the skill. Like, for example, let's say you are a salesperson, you're the greatest salesperson, and your company, you can sell anything. You can literally sell pens, papers, cars, bubble gum. And, let's say you decide to start a business and everything just starts going out of whack. At the end of the day, you only have yourself to rely on, and you want to build these skills so that you can have this sort of like inner confidence that would be like, okay, no matter what happens, I will pull through. And having those three things, having a perspective change, having a inner confidence in yourself, and having those three things, having that inner confidence, having that that confidence where you can just pull through anything, that confidence where you can just have really low expectations, that confidence where you can look at things from another perspective so that you never give up. Having these three things, now they're not like the ultimate key to happiness, but they are simple ways, simple but not easy, to actually make a change so that you could start viewing the world in a much more positive light. Yeah, this was a quick video. Hope you found it helpful. Peace out.